Wrap up this season series with the Rockies. Took about 2 extra months, but back here because of a rainout in April. The Cubs have dropped 4 of 5 against the Rockies. And let's talk about Jim Tracy's team. They got off to a very hot start, but had a dismal month of May.
Yeah, the guys that they were counting on to carry the load, so to speak, offensively, had a really rough month of May. We're told it was mostly pitch selection, but they've righted the ship somewhat here in the month of June because the guys they were counting on have started to pick it up.
One of the big changes for the Rockies in their lineup, Carlos Gonzalez has moved up to the leadoff spot. He's also been moved from left to center, and the reason they've been able to make that lineup switch is because Todd Helton hitting third has done a nice job, and you see the 2 superstars, they make this team go.
Yeah, these are without a doubt the 2 guys you have to keep an eye on anytime you play against the Colorado Rockies. Both tremendous offensive players, both great defensive players. Tulowitzki with only 4 errors all season at shortstop.
And sometimes it's just the luck of the draw in terms of which pitchers you face in any given series, and probably the last guy the Cubs wanted to face is Jhoulys Chacín, who has had a tremendous month of June. Matt Garza will go for the Cubs today. And let's look ahead to the Cubs' next few games here, Bob. It's not going to be easy because we know the Giants can pitch as well as they come here tomorrow.
Yeah, obviously take care of the Rockies first, but then the Giants coming in for a 4-game series, including that doubleheader on Tuesday. You said it. They can pitch with the best of them. However, the Giants really struggle to score runs.
And then the White Sox come back. Games on Comcast Sportsnet Friday and Sunday here from Wrigley Field. STARLIN Castro has been in one of the hottest stretches of his young career, a career-best 10-game hitting streak.
Ranks him 3rd in all of Major League Baseball with hits on the season, and he has really been getting it done lately. He's been more selective at the plate. He's taken a few base on balls, and he's driving in some big clutch runs.
Now, Bob, yesterday early in the game in the first inning, a ball deflected off his glove, and he didn't go after it as hard as his manager wanted him to, but as Mike Quaddy said, he knows about it and it won't happen again.
Well, certainly we hope it does not happen again. I think he assumed Reed Johnson was going to be right there backing up the play. Unfortunately, Reed was moving over toward the gap in case the ball got through, so allowed some runners to advance 90 feet they shouldn't have had.
Fun weekend for Cubs first base coach Bob Dernier back home in Kansas City as the Cubs played the Royals, but it's always good for him to be back at his home away from home here at Wrigley Field. Luke Stuckmeyer caught up with him.
All right, thanks, Len. Bob, first of all, you talk about what's been going on lately. You guys win a game at the start of the series, and then you've lost the next 2. How difficult is that as a team to not get the series win?
Well, it's always difficult. You know, I like to call us kind of like a good fist fighter. We get punched in the face and we get up off the canvas and we punch back. The same attitude and the same effort. I think Mike would agree, and the rest of us coaches were happy with the team in regards to that. We just haven't been able to get the larger number as much as we want, and so we'll just keep fighting, and like the skies, we suppose it will clear, and we'll get this right. And you know, but thus far it's been a bit of a tussle, and you know, but we'll see how it all shakes out. We'll try to have a good finish to the first half and then go from there.
In this last series, the good news is there were a lot of guys on base. The bad news is not enough of them crossed the plate. When you work with base runners, how do you work that fine line between being too aggressive and not being aggressive enough?
Well, there's an old coach speak that it's in regards to a clock in your head. You have to know your own clock. You run different than me. I run different than him, and we all have our own clock. I have to know, in basic terms, can I get from A to B before they can get the ball from C to B? And as I'm making my full effort, I have to have that clock and understand what and who is handling the baseball out there. And that determines whether or not you make that instantaneous decision to try to advance, be aggressive, as you say, or not. And a lot of times being aggressive is thinking aggressive and then pulling the reins. And so, you know, it's up to each individual player. It's incumbent upon him to know his own clock.
So it's easy to teach someone, okay, this is how you hold the bat when you bunt, but it's not so easy to teach somebody an instinct, it sounds like.
Well, it's truly a learned skill. Instinct is knowing that you need to eat and you need to drink water. Baseball is a learned skill, and all the skills that go on around it. Once the ball's hit, there's a whole bunch of complicated things that happen. running the bases, and defensively. So you have to understand the concert there. And through repetition, you learn the do's and don'ts and the wins and the win nots and the cans and the can nots. And that's why we have the minor leagues. And hopefully, you know, our young players, I know, haven't been down there the last 5 years. This is something we've stressed and we've tried to prioritize. And so I think about a lot of our young guys have those abilities, and they've understood the things that you have to do. So when you get up here, you make good decisions. And Mike's an aggressive manager. He wants to be more aggressive, but until we have the type of players that you can do that with, we'll do what we can. And but we do have some guys that can do those things, both young and older. You know, Reed Johnson's one of the best base runners we have. Marlon Byrd. They're not young, but they have those type of things we talked about. So does Castro and Barney and LeMahieu and on and on and on. We're going to be that type of team. And I would suppose, or be bold enough to say that over this generation, we're going to be even better at that.
Good luck against the Rockies today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Len, we'll send it back up to you.
All right, Luke, thanks to you and Bob Dernier, and we'll talk about the pitching matchup coming up as Matt Garza gets set for the start. The makeup game today, Rockies and Cubs coming up. Out on April 27th, and as we get into the starting pitchers today, on the left is right-hander Matt Garza. Stuff was really good his last time out, but shortened due to rain against the White Sox. Jhoulys Chacín, Bob, wow, he has been on fire in the month of June.
As you know, Len, we check the numbers, the splits against righties, against lefties, day, night. He is exceptional in every category you can imagine.
And you see the complete game shutout against the Cubs in Colorado on April 15th. So we're set for the Cubs hosting the Rockies. Overcast skies, wind slightly blowing out towards center. That could change as the day goes on. Rockies and Cubs coming up next. are set for a rare Monday matinee of Cubs baseball from Wrigley Field here on Comcast Sportsnet. Today, the Cubs begin a tightly packed 7-day, 8-game homestand that includes a couple of makeup games. The Rockies are here for 1 day after a late April rainout. Hi again, everyone. Good to be back home. Bob Brenly and Len Casper with you. We'll talk about a couple of the hotter hitters on these two teams. We'll start with Ty Wigginton, third base for the Rockies. 5 homers over his last 4 games.
Yeah, 2 multi-homer games over his last 5. He's one of the what I would call a complementary player on this Rockies team. We talked about Gonzalez and Tulowitzki, but when you can get some of the complementary players swinging the bat well, you've got a pretty potent offense.
Giovanni Soto's had a tough year, including a DL stint. But the last couple of days, the Gio we saw back in 2008 when he was the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, really starting to drive the ball with authority. And not only has he really picked up his game offensively, but he had a great series in Kansas City, a team that loves to run the bases. Threw out 3 runners on the bases in the ball game yesterday to go along with his 3 big base hits.
And Gio is in the lineup this afternoon. Probably see Coy Hill for one of the 2 games in the makeup day-night doubleheader tomorrow against the San Francisco Giants. Matt Garza will go for the Cubs today. Jhoulys Chacin for the Rockies. And with that double dip tomorrow, you'd like Matt Garza to work deep into this ball game. Now let's send it over to the Wrigley Field public address announcer Andy Bellison for a military tribute and then our national anthem.
At this time, we ask you to please stand as the Illinois National Guard and the Chicago Cubs welcome a very special guest to Wrigley Field. First Sergeant Edward Panish was deployed to Afghanistan in 2008 and 2009. He received an Army Commendation Medal with the Valor Device, awarded for his heroism in combat, as well as a Bronze Star for his meritorious service. The Chicago Cubs would like to take this moment to thank First Sergeant Panish, along with all our servicemen and women, both in this country and around the world, for their selfless dedication, courage, and sacrifice in protecting our freedom and defending this great country. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please remain standing. Kindly remove your caps and join Katie Wild as she honors America with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home and the brave.
Coming up from Wrigley Field, Matt Garza shoots for his 4th win, makes his 14th start with the Cubs. The first pitch and all the action from Wrigley Field is right around the corner. confines as the Cubs begin, as we said, a pretty busy week. 8 games over the next 7 days, including a day-night doubleheader tomorrow. Game 2 of that double dip will be here on Comcast Sportsnet against the San Francisco Giants. As we await the Cubs, we will take the field here momentarily, Bob. Pretty interesting swing by Troy Tulowitzki in New York over the weekend.
Yeah, Saturday in New York against the Yankees. It's going to be our Coors Light freeze cam. Tulowitzki with what we call a double thud. Hit the ball once right there, and then again with the end of the bat. I can honestly say I have never ever seen that before at any level of baseball, but that's what we talk about all the time. Show up to the ballpark every day, you might see something you've never seen before. Freeze Cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Somehow a Rockies fan snuck into the ballpark. The Rockies, by the way, a game under 500. They have kind of stabilized here in the month of June after a very rough month of May as they finish up their road trip here this afternoon. They have dropped 3 of their last 4, and the Cubs coming home from a 2-4 road trip. Rockies 5.5 out in the West. They're in 3rd. The Cubs in 5th in the Central, and a distant 12 games behind first place Milwaukee. Let's check in on Jim Tracy's Southwest starting lineup against the right-hander Matt Garza. We mentioned Cargo now in that leadoff spot and playing center. Jonathan Herrera's at second. Todd Helton off to a very good start. Troy Tulowitzki at short. Seth Smith been very consistent all year long. The hottest guy in their lineup is the third baseman Wigginton. Charlie Blackmon is in left. Chris Iannetta catches for Jhoulys Chacin.
Let's take a look at the Cubs defensively this afternoon. Soriano in left, Campana in center, Fukudome over in right field. It'll be Ramirez and Castro on the left side of the infield. DeWitt and Pena manning the right side. The red-hot Giovanni Soto doing the catching. Our right-hander, our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher, Matt Garza. Len alluded to his last outing against the White Sox. In my humble opinion, the best stuff we've seen from Matt Garza this year. Unfortunately, the rains came, and after an hour and 44-minute delay, he was unable to take the ball and complete the game. But for 5 innings, he was as good as we've seen him this year.
Sneak in the umpires. Brian Runge, along with his father Paul, his grandfather Ed. First 3-generation umpiring family in Major League history. So he'll call the balls and strikes. Ted Barrett's the crew chief today. Marvin Hudson at second. DJ Rayburn over at third. Not sure if this crew will just stay here for the Giants series or not, but that would seem to make sense logistically. Well, the Cubs have rattled off 5 consecutive wins in series openers. And the question is today, is this the opening game of a series or the last game of a series? Kind of makes your head hurt to think about it.
It's the only game today.
It's not even a series, is it?
No, that's what you really just have to concern yourself. Win a ball game every day. Doesn't matter if it's the first game, the middle game, the last game, or a separated game from a series.
So it's Garza, who's 0-2 against the Rockies this season, against Carlos Gonzalez, who swings at the first pitch, fouls it back. And we're underway. The weather really turned. It was rather hideous looking around 9:30 with a lot of fog and rain in the area, but the sun is out. Clouds have dissipated, mid-70s. And hopefully it will not rain until at least late this afternoon.
Well, and in my role of the amateur meteorologist here in the booth, the radar looks pretty clear. We should be good to go today.
Two balls and a strike. Big numbers for Gonzalez, who won the batting title last year against the Cubs. ball is drilled deep to left. Soriano's going to watch it get into the basket for a leadoff home run. An opposite field shot at that. And with a south wind today at 6 miles an hour, if you get one up there, you've got a good chance to get it out.
As you said, Len, the wind not blowing particularly hard, but probably helped this one get tucked into the basket there. Soriano realized he was not going to have a play on that ball unless it bounced off the wall. So you'll see right there he tries to get himself into a position to play the carom, but unfortunately just gets up into the basket.
Jonathan Herrera lays down a bunt, but it's foul.
And Len, that's the one concern you have going into this series with Matt Garza pitching against this Rockies offense. Yeah, pretty much every big league team has good fastball hitters, but I think more so than any team in the National League, the Rockies can pound fastballs. And we know from earlier controversies with Matt Garza, that's his best pitch. That's his go-to bread and butter pitch. And it'll be interesting to see how the day progresses with a fastball pitcher against a real good fastball hitting team.
The home run allowed, the 6th he has given up. He did not, by the way, give up a home run the entire month of April, covering his first 6 starts. So all 6 have come since May 6th in a start against the Reds. That homer by Gonzalez was the Rockies' first leadoff home run of the season, and that caught the back leg or foot of Herrera. And Jim Tracy and the Rockies athletic trainer are going to check on him.
Looks like he's grabbing that back ankle, the left ankle, as this breaking ball just continued to dive down and in. Caught him on the inside of that left ankle, and he went down in a heap. Len, you mentioned that the Rockies come into play today 1 game under 500, which I think if you're the Rockies, you feel pretty good about that because historically they've been strong finishers. They seem to play their best baseball in the last month and a half or 2 months of the season. Not sure if that's going to happen again this year, but that's something for the Rockies to hang their hat on. Sounded worse than it looked. We talk about those ankle and foot injuries all the time, the effect of gravity. Eventually he's going to have a considerable amount of swelling in that left ankle, and it remains to be seen how long Jonathan Herrera will be able to stay in this game.
And here comes Todd Helton. Nine home runs, already surpassing his total from last year as he looks at a strike. First player ever to have at least 2,270 hits, 1,280 runs, 530 doubles, 330 homers, 1,250 RBIs, and over 1,200 walks before getting to his 2,000th career game. That according to Elias, and he is now 2 games away from 2,000. That's piling up some pretty impressive numbers. And he gets under one as Tony Campana will record the first out today.
A huge bounce back season this year for Todd Helton. A lot of people thought he was cooked last year as he hit 256, only 8 home runs on the season in an injury plagued campaign, but has really bounced back this season.
Troy Tulowitzki, who has a pretty decent chance of being the starting shortstop for the National League in the All-Star game in Arizona. And the Cubs think, and I think we would agree, that one of his backups might be STARLIN Castro.
STARLIN compares very favorably to Troy Tulowitzki in everything but the power numbers. You see Tulowitzki with 14 homers and 50 driven in, but STARLIN Castro with a lot more hits, a much higher batting average, a better on base percentage.
They obviously fill very different roles offensively for their respective teams, but I think in terms of the defense, Troy Tulowitzki would be a nice model in terms of what STARLIN Castro hopes to become. Double play ball. DeWitt, Castro, and a good slide there by Herrera, who seems to be running okay after getting hit by that pitch. And that'll keep the inning alive.
That looked like a potential double play. Tulowitzki's grounded into 12 of them this year, but just kind of an awkward angle for Blake DeWitt to make the flip onto STARLIN Castro. You see he's almost facing right field as he takes that toss, and by the time he gets his body turned, tries to get into a throwing position, Herrera is right on top of him. That's a good decision by the youngster. Earlier this year we may have seen STARLIN Castro try to throw in mid-jump and fire it up into the bleachers somewhere, but he realized that was a high-risk play. Take the sure out and move along.
Here's a guy who's had a very underrated start to the year. Seth Smith has been extremely consistent, hitting over 300 each month.
He's another guy that I would classify as a complementary player, not taking anything away from Seth Smith, but there's no question who the stars are on this Rockies ball club. But when you get the kind of performance from Seth Smith and recently Ty Wigginton, some of the other guys that maybe you don't count on a consistent basis, that's when you start racking up some wins. That's when your offense starts to click on all cylinders.
It's always good to see Jim Tracy back here at Wrigley Field. Second full year as the manager of the Rockies. Gonzalez led off the game with a home run to left. Runner at first, 2 outs.
This is right where you want the inning to end. The guy in the on-deck circle, as we documented in the open of the show, has been as hot as any hitter in baseball. You definitely want him leading off an inning with nobody on base if possible.
Fastball outside. And it's 2-2. And the Rockies head home after this one. They'll play Chicago again, but it's the White Sox in interleague play starting tomorrow night.
Paul Konerko swinging a hot bat at Coors Field. That could be interesting.
It could be. Well, they just dropped 2 of 3 to the Nationals as Garza strikes out Seth Smith. Leadoff homer by Gonzalez. 1-0 Rocks. Cubs coming up. Kosuke Fukudome will start it. Tony Campana getting the nod in center today. Castro, Ramirez, Pena, and Soriano in the middle. Blake DeWitt gets the start at second. Giovanni Soto catches, and the pitcher hitting again here in NL play.
Take a look at the Rockies defensively. Charlie Blackmon, Carlos Gonzalez, and Seth Smith across the outfield. Very good defensive infield for the Rockies with Ty Wigginton at third, Troy Tulowitzki at short, Jonathan Herrera at second, Todd Helton over at first base. Only 12 errors combined for those four. Chris Iannetta doing the catching for right-hander Jhoulys Chacín. 271 ERA. Opponent's batting average under 200 at 190, as we mentioned earlier. Everywhere you look on the stat sheet, this guy is having an unbelievable season. 2+ breaking balls with a real good slider, a real good curve. Will mix in that straight changeup and tremendous command of his fastball.
He has been their best starter. They are possibly in the market for starting pitching as we near the month of July. Jorge De La Rosa, left-hander, had Tommy John surgery on June 3rd. He only made 10 starts. He's done for the season. He had 5 wins and a 3.51 ERA. Their ace, Ubaldo Jimenez, been a little better than his record, but he's 3-7. But this guy has really carried a heavy load, looking for his 9th win. Hit hard, but right at Tulowitzki, who has a cannon over there at short. And he likes to show it.
Yes, he does. You mentioned the comparisons between Tulowitzki and Castro. Tulowitzki was a more polished defender when he got to the major league level. He's never made more than 11 errors in a season, only 4 so far this year.
Tony Campana, and the Rockies have scouted him well. Jonathan Herrera way in at second. Now after that first pitch and a strike, he backs up a little bit, but both he and Tulowitzki are 2 or 3 steps ahead of where they normally would play.
Oh my. Apparently Brian Runge is a chip off the old block. His daddy Paul used to call pitches way off the outside corner. Tony Campana quickly in an 0-2 hole with a pitch well off that outside corner.
Tailing fastball was up and a little outside, although might have been closer than the last one.
Yeah, well.
Got him that time. Called strike 3.
Galaxy, the official remodeler of the Chicago Cubs, gives us pitch tracks. A backdoor breaking ball that time from Chacín. Number 2 and number 4 were both called strikes.
Nice hand for Starlin Castro. Not sure if somebody was chatting with Brian Runge or not as he looked over toward the Cub dugout. And as you know, Bob, some days it starts early.
Yeah, most days it starts early. I mean, that's a common thread throughout Major League Baseball. Both managers, both pitching coaches trying to establish a strike zone that is more advantageous to their pitcher. We've seen so many of Starlin's base hits go right back up the middle of the field this year. And with that in mind, looks like Jonathan Herrera cheating up the middle of the field a lot more than he normally would. Not quite a shift, but you see where Jonathan Herrera is positioned right in front of the second base umpire, several steps to the right of his normal position.
They shade him slightly the other way in the outfield. There's the righty, deals on a 2-1, and it's pulled foul on the ground. Chacín's only 23, so you add up these two guys' ages, And they would equal an Omar Vizquel. 23 versus 21. Hit well to center. Gonzalez back to the warning track. The leap, he can't get it. It's in and out of the vines. Blackmon will get it to Tulowitzki, but it's a triple for STARLIN Castro. That's his 6th already.
I mentioned earlier that STARLIN's been a little more selective lately. This time he gets a breaking ball right in the middle of the plate, and when he has gotten mistake pitches in the middle of the plate, he's hit them hard recently. Narrowly missed a home run just to the left of straightaway center field. As it is, ends up with his 6th triple of the season.
And his career best hitting streak continues now at 11 games. Ramirez with 2 outs and a runner at third. In addition, Castro with an 18-game on-base streak. And the chase on a breaking ball, 1 ball, 1 strike. Opponents hitting well under 200 against Chacin. He's allowed 3 runs over his first 4 starts in June. Cliff Lee's been okay.
Yeah, just okay. He gave up an earned run.
Certainly appears guys are going to have to be in swing mode today with Brian Runge behind the plate. He wants to call strikes. Ramirez gives this ball a long ride. Gone! A 2-run blast.
Home run number 7 on the season for Aramis Ramirez, right down there where he likes it. If he had to ask for a pitch, that's probably what he would ask for. Fastball down and in, golfs it high in the air, takes advantage of that wind blowing out of here to left field, and the Cubs take a 1-run lead.
And it's the first time this month that Chacin has allowed more than 1 run in a start. Aramis closing in on 300 home runs. That's number 296 in his career. 2nd in 3 days. Well, the Cubs lead 2-1, each team with a home run. Oh, and 2.
Well, he may be only 23, but Chacin realizes that with the wind blowing out to left field in Wrigley and you give up a high fly ball by a power hitter, it's probably not going to end well for you.
Popped into left. Blackmon will catch it. Ty Wigginton had no idea where it was. Sun pretty tough right now for almost all the defenders. Well, Gonzalez with a leadoff homer in the first, but with 2 outs in the bottom of the inning. Ramirez with a 2-run blast. Cubs lead 2-1. Cubs in-game live only at CSNChicago.com, brought to you by Honda. A couple of loud swings. Gonzalez for the Rockies and Ramirez for the Cubs, who lead 2-1. Here's Ty Wigginton. 2 homers yesterday in New York. Off right-hander Ivan Nova. This one's not going to leave the yard. It'll go 3-1.
You gotta love that. The hottest hitter in the other team's lineup sees one pitch, makes a quick out on a weak ground ball to the right side. If Wigginton stays hot, he could approach his career high in home runs. His best year ever as far as the long ball goes was with Tampa Bay back in '06 when he hit 24 homers.
Rookie Charlie Blackmon in left. Mentioned Gonzalez going from left to center, and Dexter Fowler went on the DL and then came off and is now at AAA. Blackman's had a quiet road trip, 1 for 17. This is the rubber game for the Rockies on this trip. They're 3-3 through 6. One ball, one strike.
Yeah, Blackmon has had a very consistent minor league career, a 312 hitter in 3 minor league systems before this year. Not a big time power guy, but does have really good speed, can steal a base.
Catcher Chris Iannetta is on deck. It's like Garza wants a fastball in. That's what Soto sets up for, and a swing and a miss, strike 3.
Rushes it right by young Charlie Blackmon, 96 mile an hour on the fastball. And we mentioned it last time out. Garza had tremendous stuff against the White Sox. Unfortunately, the rains pulled the plug on his outing. Looks like he's got real good stuff here early today.
Inside to Iannetta. Big game against the Cardinals for him on May 28th. 4 hits, 2 homers, 6 knocked in. We call that a Bob Brenly for a catcher.
Yeah, that didn't happen very often, if at all. Iannetta's having himself a nice year. As far as the power numbers go, you see he hasn't done well here at Wrigley in 9 previous games. Batting average at .234 coming into play today, but he does have 10 homers, 30 driven in, and has taken 46 walks, putting his on-base percentage at just a tick under 400.
Even with the sunny skies and little cloud cover right now, the lights were on when we got started. Took it just inside 3-1. The pitcher Chacin is on deck. Deep breath by Garza before the pitch, and Ball that's caught by Campana. Looked like it was going to get down, but it held up just long enough for the speedy Campana to get it on the dive. Nicely done, Tony Campana. 2-1 Cubs.
There's a nice little twist here by Tony Campana. Watch him make the catch and turn his glove so that when he hits the ground, the fingers of the glove are on the ground. The palm of the glove is pointed up. Right there. That way, in the event that ball pops out the end of the glove, it's going to go up in the air, and you might have a chance to make the catch on the second attempt if you have the palm of the glove pointed down when you hit the ground and the ball comes out. It's going to be on the grass. A very subtle little technique by good outfielders. And a nice job that time by Tony Campana.
And a good catch by you. Here comes Alfonso Soriano to lead off the Cubs' second. Chacin taking his final warm-up tosses. Hey fans, couldn't get tickets to the White Sox or Cardinals series here at Wrigley? Cubs Destinations has spots available for these highly anticipated matchups. All standard packages include great tickets, first-class hotel accommodations, a special Cubs gift bag, a tour of the ballpark, and a private meet and greet with a current Cub player. For more info, visit Cubs.com. Ball one to the Cubs left fielder. Didn't pile up a ton of hits on the just completed trip, 4 in 21 at bats, but he walked 5 times. Really planned to pull on the left side of the infield, as Tulowitzki essentially takes away the 5.5 hole, and they give Soriano a lot of room up the middle. That's pulled into left, and Blackmon will have to go get it. Leadoff double for Soriano. So the Cubs have 3 hits, all for extra bases, a triple, a home run, and now a double.
A single away from the cycle here. Boy, another pitch down in the zone. That one out over the plate and down. Soriano, very much like a Ramos Ramirez, good low ball hitter. He loves that pitch down around the knees or below and bangs it off that left field wall for a leadoff double.
Sixth start of the year at second base for the versatile Blake DeWitt. Darwin Barney, assuming everything goes well, at Iowa the next couple of days, and he's been there for a few already. We'll be back on Wednesday from the DL. Marlon Byrd starts his minor league rehab assignment with Iowa tonight.
Blake DeWitt with a job to do here, try to move that ball somehow to the right side of the field, either a ground ball to the right side, deep fly ball to center or right, try to give Soriano a chance to advance to third base if DeWitt makes an out. Ideally, you get a base hit through the right side. But at worst, you move that runner up to third base and set it up for the hottest hitter right now in the Cubs lineup, Giovanni Soto.
Two and two. Where would you rather be? On a summer afternoon. Off the plate inside. Full count, 3-2.
Maybe out in the bleachers having a cold beverage, but short of that, I think we're right where we want to be.
Yeah, I think we have a pretty good view.
And so do they.
Finally, Chacin is ready, and the pitch. Up the middle, Tulowitzki will field behind second, and his throw is in time. He was shaded that way. Soriano now at third with one out.
And Blake DeWitt able to get it done even in the 2-strike count. Hit that ball behind the runner, give him a chance to move up and set it up for the teammate hitting in the lineup behind you. You see where Tulowitzki is shaded up the middle of the field. That's the only thing that kept this from being a base hit into center. That ball was scalded right past Chacin on the mound, but Tulowitzki there to make the play.
The Rockies will bring their infield in with Giovanni Soto at the plate. Outfielders all playing pretty deep. Low for ball one. A lot of interleague action around baseball, but it's all later. Do have an American League game tonight. Toronto is at Detroit.
Hey fans, visit the newly renovated Captain Morgan Club at Wrigley Field. With more than 30 flat screens, an expanded menu, and outdoor patio atmosphere, make it your place to catch all home and away games. The Captain Morgan Club, your neighborhood pet-friendly headquarters and destination place. For more information, including specials and private parties, call 773-404-4750.
Small sample size, but Gio had trouble getting this guy in with less than 2 outs. 1 and 2 now. Key batter in this inning because light hitting Matt Garza is on deck. He struck him out on a slider. And the infielders will move back with 2 gone.
Perfectly located slider. Started on the outer third of the plate, slid over toward the corner at the knees. It looks like it's going to be a good pitch to hit, but just disappears as that bat gets into the hitting zone.
You know why that pitch slid?
Come.
Because it's a slider.
That's right.
Sliders slide.
It's kind of a misnomer, though, because a truly good slider has as much downward movement as it has lateral movement.
It's a faster, tighter curveball, right?
Yeah.
chopped to Chacin. He'll underhand, and the Cubs strand Soriano at third. They lead 2-1 at the end of 2.
$1.89, but you don't have to remember it to love it. Prices and participation may vary. For a limited time, a la carte only.
Tonight, don't miss Chicago Tribune Live on Comcast Sportsnet. Tribune writers, sports stars, and celebrities join host David Kaplan to discuss the day's hottest sports topics and set the table for the night ahead. Chicago Tribune Live, presented by Captain Morgan, tonight at 5:30 on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. We want to welcome those viewers watching today on ESPN UK. Cubs baseball from Wrigley Field. The pitcher Chacin leading off the top of the third inning. 3 for 29 on the season. No career extra base hits. Garza's first pitch is a fastball in there for a strike. Now I'm intrigued talking about the slider and the curveball, about when, at least generally, those pitches came about. Now the fastball had to be the first pitch invented. Just throw it.
Depends on who threw it. It may have been a slow ball initially, but yeah, that's just
whatever
you
would call the fastball back in the 1800s would have been the first pitch. I'm guessing the next pitch that was invented was probably a really slow pitch. And then everything else since then is kind of in between, with the, I guess, exception of the knuckleball. There's a ground ball hit to Blake DeWitt. I mean, you think about the pitches lately that have kind of become more popular: the split-fingered fastball, the cutter. Those pitches are kind of in between. The split's closer to a changeup, but still considered a fastball, and the cutter kind of a faster slider.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people ask me the difference between a curveball and a slider. If you can picture, if you take a baseball and roll it down a pool table to the other end, that's the rotation on a true curveball. Now a slider is more like a football. If you throw a football on a perfect spiral, that is the rotation on a true slider as it comes up to home plate. The curveball with that over-the-top spin generally break straight down toward the ground depending on the arm angle of the pitcher. The slider slides away from the hitter and down a little bit because of that football-like spiral.
Changeup. 0-2.
A lot of variations on the changeup. The circle change was quite the rage there for a while. Tom Glavine and Greg Maddux were throwing it down in Atlanta, and it seemed to be the pitch every pitcher wanted to learn to throw effectively. Some guys choke the baseball way back in the palm of their hand when they throw their changeup. Other guys use a variation of the split finger for their changeup. The whole idea being fastball, arm speed, changeup velocity.
That pitch caught more plate than Garza and Soto wanted. But still a somewhat desired result, a foul. And not a ball hit deep like in the first inning. 0-2 changeup. 1-2. Curveball that time. Still 1-2.
Let me ask you this, Len. Do you think we've discovered all the pitches that there are to discover?
No, I still feel like there's something else out there. Well, we heard about Daisuke Matsuzaka with a gyro ball. Not quite sure what that is. If it's just a variation on a splitter or changeup or who knows what.
Well, one thing is for sure, if there are more pitches out there to be discovered, pitching coaches and pitchers will find them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a constant exchange of information between pitchers, not only on the same team, but with pitchers on the other ball clubs. You stand around the outfield during batting practice, you see it happen all the time. How do you hold your changeup? How do you grip that cutter?
That's change.
That's the circle change. The index finger and the thumb form the OK sign, like you're signaling OK to a buddy, and the pitch actually comes off your middle finger and your ring finger.
Sounded like he cracked his bat as Ramirez will get him. 2 down. 2 pitches that you don't see much anymore. I mean, the knuckleball, occasionally see the screwball. Danny Herrera throws it, but that's about it. The palm ball. Now the palm ball's basically just a ball is stuck right in your palm. It's some guys would probably throw that as their changeup, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But you used to hear that terminology more often. You have variations on the curve, the spiked curve, the knuckle curve. Here's the 0-1 to Herrera. You know, the guy who really stands out as being totally different from what we're used to seeing is Josh Colmentor. When we talk about an over-the-top delivery, that's as over-the-top as you get. He's, as someone said, a left-handed righty. And he's had good success this year. That's a 1-2-3 third. Since the hit batter in the first inning, Garza has retired 9 straight. Great seats for the 2011 season. Bleacher seats are still available as well. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com, call 1-800-THE-CUBS, or visit the Wrigley Field box office. One strike on Kosuke, make it 1-1. Among the games later on, Washington at the Angels. John Lannon and Irvin Santana. Davey Johnson will make his Nationals managerial debut. John McLaren went 2-1 after Jim Riggleman abruptly resigned. The Nationals have the best record in baseball since May 31st. They're 18-7. And Bob, in 8 of those 18 wins, they scored 1 or 2 runs. It tells you how great their pitching's been. Kosuke with a leadoff single. And we will see the Nationals to start the next road trip a week from today.
Soft liner into center field. Looked like Kosuke caught it right off the end of the bat, but strong enough to muscle it out there into center field for a base hit. Well, not only good pitching by the Nationals recently, but they played pretty solid defense. They ranked 4th in the National League going into play today in fielding percentage.
So the Cubs with 4 hits, and they have them all: the homer, the triple, the double, and now the single. Tony Campana showed bunt, pulled the bat back in time.
I don't know how much we're going to see of this particular alignment for the Cubs offensively, but personally I kind of like it. Kosuke Fukudome has done a nice job of getting on base in that leadoff spot this year, but he doesn't really have base stealing speed. We know Tony Campana can bunt. We know he can use that bat to move the ball around.
Out into left center, and they're at first and second with no outs.
From our Galaxy home remodeling pitch tracks, fastball on the outer third of the plate. Campana does what he's supposed to do, stay on it, hit it the opposite way, this time just to the left to straightaway center for back-to-back singles to start the third.
Starlin Castro with a triple as he banged it off the wall in center, right in front of the Ramirez home run in the opening inning. Hit well to left, but pretty much right at Blackmon. And that's out number 1. Now Ramirez, who hit a go-ahead 2-run homer in the first. I'm going to send out happy 40th birthday wishes to Jennifer Logue, the little sister of Dave Cella, one of our fine camera operators here at Wrigley Field. Jennifer's in Wooddale. And as Dave says, now get back to your homework, punk. That's not very nice.
Sure, that's just a pet nickname that he has.
That's what we're told. A term of endearment. Strike 1. Also congrats to Kelly Raybon. Cubs parking lot attendant gave birth to a baby girl 6 days ago. Rejana Phoenix weighed in at 6 pounds 6 ounces.
Bluff down to first base that time by Chris Iannetta. Todd Helton is playing way off the bag over there at first base, but Iannetta trying to shorten up Campana's lead a little bit. In the event Ramirez hits a ground ball, give the Rockies a better chance to turn 2.
Looks like 2. The tag, the throw, and the inning. Promising start. 2 on, no outs, but no runs. 2-1 after 3.
This fourth inning is brought to you by Fourth Meal from Taco Bell, open 1 a.m. or later.
The Menards grounds crew taking care of this beautiful playing surface. Here's Todd Helton. Tough part of the order here. Helton, Tulowitzki, and Smith combined for 31 home runs here early on. Garza's 0-1 pitch. Pot foul. Right below our broadcast booth.
Right at you, partner. Just a little low. Getting closer.
That's in the dirt. What a list that is. Deep breath by Garza and a 1-2 pitch. Played on the short hop neatly by Castro, and he gets the out. Time today for our AT&T trivia question. How many current Major League managers played for the Chicago Cubs? Have a little fun with this one. I'll give you the range. I'll give you a hint. It's between 0 and 30.
That really helps.
Breaking ball missed to Tulowitzki. Well, we know one, right? The guy in the visiting dugout, Jim Tracy.
And certainly another easy one. The Yankees were here for interleague play about a week or so ago. Joe Girardi. We can cherry pick the easy ones.
A pop up over near the home dugout. Soto just missed it as he got near the railing.
That's unusual. As a catcher, if you're not quite sure where a pop foul is, you use the rule of thumb. If a right-handed hitter hits a foul pop-up, it's probably going to be to your right, just because of the angle of the bat as it comes through the hitting zone. Same thing for a left-handed hitter. It's probably going to be to your left on the third base side of the field. But that time, Tulowitzki with a foul pop over his own shoulder to the third base side. Looked like Gio didn't pick it up right away.
And Tulowitzki able to hold up. Here's a 2-1. Broken bat, base hit into center. Bob, sad news today. We want to pass along our deepest sympathies to our good friend, Blackhawks president and CEO John McDonough. His father, John Sr., passed away early this morning at 99. And we want John and wife Karen and the entire McDonough family to know we're thinking about them today.
Absolutely.
1 on, 1 out. And Seth Smith, who struck out in the first inning. Little tapper. Soto calls off Garza. Low throw, but no problem for Carlos Pena.
chopper right out in front of home plate. This field did take some water earlier this morning, but no issues that time for Gio coming out of the chute, and Carlos Pena makes a nice adjustment on a low throw.
I would guess, never having caught in my life, but one of the fun parts of catching is just how your role changes in an instant. You're calling a game, you're trying to figure out the best pitch to get out a batter. You've got a guy who has pretty good pop in Seth Smith, and he hits a ball 3 feet in front of the plate. And all of a sudden now you're playing shortstop.
Yeah, now you're a defender. Of course, the main difference is you're wearing all that equipment and you're coming out of a dead crouch to field the ground ball, as opposed to everybody else who's in a more natural, comfortable fielding position as the ball comes to them.
The 1-0 to Wigginton misses. 2 balls, no strikes. Now it's kind of widely recognized that Johnny Bench may be the best all-around catcher ever. Was there one guy that you watched who was great at doing what Gio just did? I mean, had good range in terms of fielding bunts and running down foul pops.
Yeah, there were a lot of good ones. Paul LaDuca in his days with the Los Angeles Dodgers was one of the most active catchers you'll ever see, and man, is that a mistake. Oh Lord.
I think Gio thought he was being called off by Carlos Pena, and for the second time this inning, a Rocky gets new life.
Pena had his hands up. I have to believe he wasn't calling for it if he made that kind of reaction with his body. This should not happen. It is the little fundamental things like that gives new life to a hot hitter with a runner in scoring position. The Cubs should be back in the dugout putting their batting gloves on right now.
2-1 on Wigginton as Garza has to regroup. I'm sure he thought the inning was over, as did everybody else. Paul LaDuca would go sliding into dugouts to go get foul balls. Very active behind the plate.
Brad Ausmus was another guy that was real active on the small side for a catcher.
Up in the air, and Tony Campana will get it. Garza needed a couple of extra pitches, but does get out of it unscathed. The Cubs maintaining a 2-1 advantage in the fourth. Trivia question: among the 30 major league managers currently, how many played in the big leagues for the Chicago Cubs? The answer is 5. And not many had a distinguished career. as a Cub. Tony La Russa barely a Cub. He pinch ran for Ron Santo right at the end of his career. Davey Johnson finished his career as a Cub. Terry Francona here in 1986, and Joe Girardi spent the most time as a Cub player. Brad Mills, the Astros manager, played in the Cubs minor league system, and the only former Cubs manager currently managing is Dusty Baker. So there you have it. 5 of the 30.
And speaking of Terry Francona, Len, got a wonderful gift from a lady named Janice Bouchard from Rolling Meadows, Illinois. She heard us talking a few weeks ago how I was the vice president of the Tito Francona fan club when I was growing up, and big fan of Terry's as well. And apparently Janice Bouchard is a big fan of the Francona family as well. She sent me a beautiful baseball card, a father-son card with both autographs, Tito and Terry. So Janice, I can't thank you enough.
(2-0) on Pena. Tony La Russa, one game with the Cubs, opening day 1973. Scored the game-ending run in the bottom of the ninth as a pinch runner for Ronnie, and he scored it on a bases-loaded walk taken by Rick Monday. That would be the final game of Tony La Russa's major league career. Three balls and a strike. And I think a lot of people forgot Davey Johnson was briefly a Cub in 1978. Way up in the air, well hit by Carlos Pena, a majestic home run to center. That makes it 3-1, his 15th.
That patience, putting himself into a good hitter's count, got a fastball out over the plate. Oh my goodness, full extension. Doesn't try to pull it, just goes with the pitch to straightaway center field, takes advantage of that wind once again and hits it into batter's eye in center field.
3 homers in the game, accounting for all the runs. So let's see for Carlos Pena. That's a 4-game Chicago home run streak. He hit one in all 3 games on the south side last week.
Well, hopefully that's a good sign. Cubs have 7 more games here at home. Throughout this homestand, stay hot.
Soriano, fly ball to left. Blackmon on the warning track. He'll get it. Blake DeWitt 0 for 1. Fastball in there, and it's a ball and a strike. Ramirez and Pena have gone deep today off Jhoulys Chacín. Have to say it's the hardest he's been hit in a while. This one will get back behind the Cubs dugout. Got the pitching matchups for the day-nighter tomorrow. Lefty Doug Davis will pitch in game 1. Right-hander Rodrigo Lopez in game 2. The Giants will counter with Ryan Vogelsong, who actually might be an all-star. Wouldn't that be something? And lefty Barry Zito just came off the DL. We'll get the nightcap. Good matchup Wednesday night. Lincecum and Dempster. And then Thursday, Matt Cain and Carlos Zambrano. Giants are hot. They've won 5 in a row after losing 5 straight. They're off today, a travel day, as they'll head to Chicago. DeWitt grounds out to Herrera. 2 outs. Pledge your allegiance to the Cubs by becoming a member of the Cubs Club, the official fan club of the Chicago Cubs. This year's Cubs Club features a new Bleacher Crew tier and an improved Marquee tier. Members will enjoy exclusive perks, experiences, and merchandise throughout the 2011 Cubs season. There's never been a better time to join, rejoin, or give a fellow Cubs fan the gift of a Cubs Club membership. And to join today, visit Cubs.com. That one hammered into the left field corner. 2-out double for Soto. Cubs are not only picking up hits, but they are pounding the baseball against Chacin today.
14th time this season Giovanni Soto has doubled. A lot of mistake pitches right in the middle of the plate today from Chacin, and the Cubs hitters have taken advantage. I don't think we've seen this many hard hit balls against the Rockies right-hander in all the years we've seen him pitch.
Well, let's just give you some of his June numbers. Leading up to this start, 4 outings. He didn't allow more than 1 run. He didn't give up more than 4 hits in any of those starts. Well, he's allowed 7 hits and 3 runs already in this one. And we're only in the 4th inning. And remember, he shut out the Cubs back on April 15th. Chacin ready for a 2-0. It's low and outside, 3-0 on the pitcher. Kosuke waiting on deck.
And then we talked about that Giants series upcoming. You would assume it's going to be a pitching and defense and strategy heavy series. The Giants lowest run total in the National League. They're second in fewest runs given up. Only the Phillies have given up fewer runs this year. So on the surface, it would appear to be a low-scoring series.
Veteran pitching coach Bob Apodaca will head out to the mound. With his 2nd career walk taken by Matt Garza.
To call that a mistake is an understatement. Matt Garza, coming into today, had 25 at bats on the season. He'd struck out in 18 of them.
He badly wants to be a good hitter, and he might end up being one. He just hasn't had much experience at it, considering this is his first time in the National League. Two on for Fukudome. Kosuke, 34 years old. Final year of a 4-year contract. He signed in December of 2007 to come over from Japan after 9 years with the Chunichi Dragons. He was an all-star his rookie season. Cubs' first rookie outfielder to start an all-star game. Throw to second behind Soto is a little late.
You see Soto taking his lead and then shuffles off with that secondary lead. He got out there quite a ways, but as long as you plant that right foot when the ball gets into the hitting zone and passes the hitter, you should be able to turn and get back to that bag.
Almost got him again. You saw him kind of joking with somebody in the dugout. He was holding his arms apart like, yeah, you want me to get a bigger lead. Look what happens.
Well, you'd have to say his lead is right about where it should be. He's been able to get back on a pickoff attempt from the pitcher and a pickoff attempt from the catcher with a slide each time. So I would say he's right about where he should be. Watch that right foot will come down when the ball gets into the hitting zone. If the batter doesn't swing, your first move should be an aggressive crossover step back to the bag. Whether they're throwing to second base or not, that should be your first move. Ball's in the catcher's glove. I've got to hustle back to second base. If he doesn't throw, you can break it down and walk back to the bag.
Each play's been close, but he's been safe all 3 times.
The catchers rarely get that kind of respect on the bases. 3 pickoff attempts in 1 at bat.
I thought he might take off. 2-2.
Talked about it before, Len. That base runner at second, you're very, very dependent on your third base coach. You can see the second baseman out of the corner of your eye, and certainly your focus is on the pitcher as he has the ball in his hand, but you cannot see the shortstop behind you. That's where the third base coach comes in to let you know, back if that shortstop starts to break for the base. If the shortstop is holding his position, the third base coach can tell you another step, you're okay. If the shortstop starts to move, there's usually a verbal command, hold, which means stop right where you're at. He's starting to make a move. And then if the shortstop breaks for the bag, you start screaming back. Because that's the one defender you can't see as you take your lead, is the guy playing right behind you.
I stole your hairdo.
I wondered where it went. Well, I'm all for trying to shorten up a guy's lead to give your outfielders a chance to throw him out at home, but this is getting to the extreme here.
Bases loaded. Remember how this inning continued. The walk to Garza, followed up with another free pass to Kosuke.
So much attention paid to Giovanni Soto at second base. Maybe not enough focus spent on the hitter at the plate. Make it hurt.
Inside corner. AT&T U-verse Multiview. 2-out rally here. Soto, Garza, Fukudome. 3rd to 1st. 1-1 on Tony Campana. Campana getting his 14th start in center. Cena has lost command on many of his pitches here in the 4th. Scalded foul. 2-2. Final game of this season series. 2 clubs met 5 times in April. And the Rockies, who were red hot at the time, won 4 of 5 against the Cubs. Down the left field line, Blackmon comes over the bullpen mound and near the bench, and nobody can get it. And we have the third base umpire over there, DJ Rayburn, telling Coy Hill, you got to sit more along the wall.
Everybody moves. Move. Yeah, Coy Hill just kind of leaned forward on his seat there. Technically, according to the rules, I don't believe you're allowed to set folding chairs out there in the middle of the bullpen where those guys are sitting. And if you do that, you're expected as a courtesy, if the ball comes that direction, to grab your chair and get out of the way.
Coy didn't want to help out the Rockies, that's for sure. Chopper to first. Foul. Just kicked foul at the last possible second as it got near the bag.
Very close. Almost looked like the ball hit the base, but Ted Barrett, first base umpire, right there on top of it, had a much better view than we did. Immediately called it foul.
Another 2-2 pitch. This gets by, and it caroms over near the on-deck circle. Soto scores. It's 4-1. A wild pitch uncorked by Chacin.
Really struggling with his command now. Just can't seem to find any consistent release point. This slider really dive bombs down and in on Tony Campana, hit the bricks and ricocheted all the way around from the first base side through the Cubs on deck circle. And now some icing on the cake here. How about a knock?
3-2 to Campana. Ground ball to Herrera. And that's the inning, but the Cubs add to their lead. Pena with a leadoff home run. His 15th of the year to straightaway center. They add another on a wild pitch, and it's now 4-1 Cubs.
free. If you're the 500th texter, you could win 5 $5 footlong subs from Subway.
Chicago sports fans know there's only one place to go for the best local sports news and highlights. That's Sportsnet Central. Every night at 6:30, 10, 10:30, and midnight. Only on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Matt Garza making his third start against the Colorado Rockies this season. He's 0-2, but he's working today with a 4-1 edge as we get into the fifth inning. He'll face the bottom three. Blackmon, Iannetta, and Chacin is due up. But that might depend on what happens with the first two hitters of the inning.
Mentioned earlier, Blackmon, a high average hitter at the minor league level, didn't hit for much power. So if he's leading off an inning, you have to assume a bunt could possibly be in order. And with that in mind, Ramirez drawn way in at third base.
And he does bunt, and Garza the bobble late. You've got one shot on that play. Garza really upset with himself. That's an error on Matt Garza.
He does a nice job getting to the ball, reacts quickly off the mound to get to the baseball, just does not handle it well. Right there off the heel of the glove, then into his midsection. By the time he can shovel on to Pena, it's too late.
Iannetta, who was retired on an excellent diving catch in center by Tony Campana back in the second inning. Blackmon at first, interesting, Bobby, had a 5-game stolen base streak back in the middle part of this month. Now, game by game data began in 1946. Stats went back and found that he's the first player to do that within the first 9 games of his career. Steal a base in 5 straight. They'll be a little more cautious down near the bottom of the order and trailing by 3 runs. And consider Giovanni Soto yesterday threw out 3 Kansas City Royals. And since caught stealings were officially tabulated since 1951, Giovanni Soto yesterday, the first Cub catcher to have 3 hits and 3 caught stealings in one game. That's a good game. Elias went back and looked at it.
Well, and we use this Galaxy pitch tracks to give you an idea where the pitches are. And this is the same system that the umpires use to evaluate themselves. Those first 2 pitches were called balls. That forces Matt Garza to come right down the middle of the plate with a fastball. Now, fortunately, Chris Iannetta swings right through it. But he's thrown 3 pitches in the strike zone, and the count is 2-1. You wonder why I want to go to an automated strike zone.
Garza ready for a 2-1. Here it is. Fouled off. The Crosstown Classic resumes this weekend as the White Sox come here, and CSN has announced that Jim Riggleman will join Comcast Sportsnet's Crosstown pre- and post-game analysis. Jim, the former Cub manager, recently resigned as the skipper of the Washington Nationals, but he'll be here coming up Friday and then again on Sunday. Ground ball. Ramirez gets up. He's out at second. Out at first on 2 bang plays. Boy, both calls might have been able to go either way, and the Cubs get the 5-4-3 double play.
Blackmon's speed, I didn't think there was any way Ramirez would even try to go to second base to get the lead runner after diving and making a nice play to keep that ball out of left field, but he does go to second. Very close play there. They get the call from Marvin Hudson at second base and another close one at first. Just stretching out there, left foot on the bag and
out.
Looked like they got it right. Not so sure about that one at second, but they got the one at first right for sure.
Well, that's big for Matt Garza. Now he faces the pitcher with 2 outs and nobody aboard. One and two. And he whiffs on strike 3. Third punch out for Garza. Hasn't given up much since a leadoff homer in the first inning. 4-1 Cubs. Time now for our Xfinity high-speed action. The Cubs have taken advantage of the conditions today. A couple of home runs. Ramirez in the first, 2-run blast, and then Carlos Pena leadoff homer in the fourth.
Both home runs just towering fly balls way up into the wind above the roof of the stadium, taking advantage of that gentle breeze that has suddenly picked up a little bit.
Ball 1 to STARLIN Castro. You all right?
Oh, it's just driving me crazy. I mean, you've heard of guess hitters that go to the plate and they guess for a certain pitch in a certain situation. I think Brian Runge's a guess umpire.
Nice play by Chacin to flag that down. Well, you've already been quoted. Rob Nyer from MLB.SBNation.com always watches our broadcasts, and he enjoyed your automated strike zone quote, but you may get another mention today.
You know,
a guess umpire.
Yeah. You know, when you do this for a living, when you're sitting in that dugout and every pitch is important, you're trying to make a living. You're trying to prove that you're a good major league player.
Fair ball for Ramirez. That'll go through the visiting bullpen. And he slides in safely. Ball actually hit him in the backside on the bounce. 2 hits today.
Ramirez stays hot. 20th double of the season. Shoots this one right down the right field line. Boy, that is a tough pitch down below the zone. But as I mentioned earlier, a good low ball hitter stayed right on it. Yeah, I mean, there's probably more variables in the game of baseball than any other professional sport, but I don't think umpiring should be one of them. Just my opinion. We have the technology. I don't mean to single out Brian Runge. It's been baseball wide this year. We talked to managers off the record because certainly they don't want their name attributed to any quotes about the strike zone this season, but it's a common problem everywhere.
Carlos Pena with 1 out and a runner at second. 1 ball, no strikes. Fastball too high, and the count is 2-0.
I'll tell you, and the Cubs offensively are doing exactly what they needed to do today. When you face an ace pitcher and he's off his game, you really need to take advantage of it. And the Cubs have done that today. We talked about it in that last inning. They've hit some balls right on the nose. Take advantage of a struggling ace.
Big swing, 2-1. Partner, we want to wish Bobby Scales the best of luck. He has had his contract purchased by the Nippon Ham Fighters in Japan from the Iowa Cubs. So he's going to join Michael Hoffpower over in Japan with Nippon. I wish Bobby the best. And I'll tell you what, we haven't seen the last of Bobby Scales here in the States. I think he'll whenever he's done playing, will stay in uniform as a coach and maybe a future big league manager. Runner at second, 1 out. Cubs lead 4-1 here in the 5th. Driven the other way. Carlos Pena's done it again. His second today. Two-run homer at 6-1.
Without a doubt, it's good to see Pena hit a couple of long balls today, but even better that they've come to center field and left field. Taking what Chacin is offering, pitches on the outer part of the plate and hitting him hard to the opposite field. Beautiful thing.
20th multi-homer game of Pena's career, and the first in over a calendar year, June 8th of 2010 against the Toronto Blue Jays. Right-hander Clayton Mortensen is now up for the Rockies. Pena with one career 3-homer performance. Three and one to Soriano. And he draws the walk. Bob Apodaca is heading back out. Second time today.
I'm not sure what you can tell your starting pitcher at this point. It is obvious that Chacin just does not have it today, struggling with his command, making a lot of mistakes in the middle of the strike zone. I'm surprised they're not pulling the plug on him right here.
The new Bud Light Bleachers series provides fans with exciting new opportunities in the Bud Light Bleachers this season, including free T-shirt Mondays, $3 12-ounce draft Bud and Bud Light Tuesday nights, and $1 Vienna Beef Hot Dog Wednesdays. Tuesday night special is also available in select locations in the seating bowl. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com. Ball one on Blake DeWitt. Just looking for Carlos Pena's lone 3-homer game. It came with Detroit at Cleveland back on May 19th, 2003. Pena will probably get at least 2 more shots at his 3rd home run. Swing and a miss on a changeup. If you ever use Baseball Reference, fans can jump on that website. They have all kinds of neat tools to look through, including a player's home run log. See all the pitchers, batters have homered off. For instance, Carlos Pena, most home runs he's hit off any pitcher. Probably take you a lot of guesses because he's a lefty. Andy Pettitte, 6 times.
That is interesting.
Pena's homered off Andy Pettitte. Second on the list, another lefty, John Lester. 5 career homers for Pena off Lester. Foul pop. And another one near the Cubs bullpen, and 3 Rockies get near it, but can't make the play.
Ball appeared to be headed for the bleachers when it came off the bat, but that wind that's blowing straight out to center field pushed it back onto the field of play. Time everybody able to get out of the way. No play for the Rockies.
I suppose, considering the cycles of baseball, Chacin was due for a bad one, and the Cubs have really knocked him around today. Blake DeWitt does strike out. 2 down in the inning. That gets back to, would you rather face a hot pitcher who's due to have a bad outing, A cold pitcher is due to have a good one. A hot team that's due to, you just never know when things are going to change. And he may stay hot. It may just be the Cubs today have done everything right. They've made hay when they've had to on his mistakes. But coming in, he's probably the last guy you would have wanted to face.
I think coming into this one-game series here, the makeup of a rainout, if you had to pick a pitcher on this Rocky staff to face today, it definitely would not have been this guy. But the Cubs have put together some of their best at-bats of the season, have taken advantage of a lot of mistakes today, and that's why they have a 6-1 lead at this point.
High strike, it's 2-1.
It's a pitch we've seen very little of from Chacín in this outing today, the straight changeup. Cubs have really pounced on those hanging breaking balls and those fastballs in the middle of the plate. So Chacín going further down the list of pitches, trying to mix in some straight changeups.
I think my questions about momentum beg a bigger question. Does such a thing even exist? Did Chacín's 4 previous starts have any impact on today? Talk about momentum in baseball, as Vin Scully always says, it's the next day's starting pitcher. Soto swings and misses. Chacín with back-to-back Ks, but a 2-run homer by Carlos Pena, his second homer of the afternoon, and the Cubs out to a 5-run lead.
Paid McDonald's for $1.89.
(6-1) Cubs as Matt Garza gets ready for the top of the Rockies order here in the 6th inning. Carlos Gonzalez started this ball game with a home run. The Rockies have 1 hit since. That was a single by Tulowitzki in the 4th. Garza making his 14th start, trying to grab his 4th win. It would be 3 consecutive wins at home for Garza. 1 ball, no strikes. Gonzalez finished 3rd in the NL MVP balloting last year, won a Silver Slugger and a Gold Glove as he took home the NL batting title, 5th Rocky to pace the NL in batting average. Curveball at 76 for a strike, 1-2. And Gonzalez went around, got a late start toward first as Soto will throw him out.
Looks like Gio put on a clean shirt after all those pickoff attempts at second base. He slid back in on his belly a number of times. Then you put that chest protector on over the top of it and you sweat, and not only is your uniform dirty, the back of your chest protector gets dirty, and then Tom Otis Hellman and the clubhouse staff have a lot more work to do tonight to get that equipment cleaned up for tomorrow.
Yeah, entirely
new pants too.
Clean uniform. Inside to the switch hitting Jonathan Herrera. Caught the inside corner. 2-1. Johnny Cueto off to an excellent start in June. 3-0 with an 0.96. He'll pitch for the Reds tonight at Tampa Bay. Herrera with a comebacker base hit. He's been on twice as he chats with former Cub Glenn Allen Hill over at first base.
G. Hill telling Herrera, see that building across the street out there on the left? I hit one on top of it. I imagine the Rockies have heard that story a number of times. Every time they come in here to Wrigley.
Strike to Todd Helton. Herrera takes off, and the throw's going to get into center, and Gio will get an error.
Good jump by Herrera reading that pitch in the dirt. Soto got to it quickly, made a strong throw to second base. Unfortunately, the ball just tips off the webbing of Starlin Castro's glove, taking it away from Blake DeWitt. That allows Herrera to get up and advance on to third.
Wild pitch and an error. By the way, Mike Leake tonight, Johnny Cueto tomorrow for the Reds. How about Cueto and David Price tomorrow night? That's an excellent matchup as Helton fouls away.
We're talking about tomorrow's scheduled starters. How about Boston at Philadelphia? Josh Beckett and Cliff Lee.
Todd Helton makes it 6-2 as he dunks it into right for his 34th RBI.
We talked about that Glenn Allen Hill moonshot when he was a member of the Cubs.
Steve Woodard gave it up. And Glenn Allen's been asked a lot about it, and his point was simply, I hit a lot of them like that in batting practice. It was no big deal to me.
Big deal.
A home run.
I saw Glenn Allen Hill hit a home run at Old Shea Stadium. For those of you who remember Old Shea, the visiting team's bullpen was in left field, and I'm guessing it was probably about 100 feet wide from the back of the left field fence to the back of the bullpen fence. Then there was a picnic area of grass, and then there was the parking lot for the buses. I saw him hit one off the roof of the buses at Shea Stadium one time. Easily as far as the one he hit on the roof here at Wrigley.
Two and 0 a hitter's count for a home run hitter, Rex Brothers. Not sure if he's related to Joyce. Next to Clayton Mortensen. Sorry, Dr. Joyce.
Get it right.
Low for ball 3.
Sounds like the name of a band, like the Avett Brothers, the Rex Brothers. The Brothers Johnson. Johnson and Johnson.
One in, one on, and a 3-0 count on Tulowitzki. Three and one. Might get the green light normally, but down 4. He takes a strike.
Well, he's definitely green lighted here, 3 and 1. Hopefully get a ground ball. He's hit into 12 double plays this year, very nearly hit into his 13th back in that first inning.
Didn't look like he was going to offer it that one either. 3 and 2.
Let's see if Jim Tracy, even trailing by 4 runs in this game, decides to start Todd Helton over there at first base to attempt to stay out of a double play. Tulowitzki does not strike out very often, only 29 times all season.
Here's a pitch, Helton not running, and a chopper hit foul. Looks like the Indians are calling up one of their top prospects. Third baseman Lonnie Chisenhall going to come up from AAA Columbus. Expected to make his debut tonight against Arizona. Indians just got swept at San Francisco. They're a game behind the Tigers in the AL Central. Foul again.
Well, for Chisenhall, it won't be an easy debut. Ian Kennedy, who is very quietly having a great year out there in the desert, 8 and 2, going into his start tonight against the Indians.
The third 3-2 pitch is on the way. That backs up Castro. They'll get 1, and that's it.
Good thing for the Cubs that Helton was not on the move on that 3-2 pitch. Yeah, because Castro had to back up to play that big hop out there in shallow left field. I don't know if he would have been able to get Tulowitzki at first had Helton been running.
Seth Smith. Strike one. Cardinals are going to get David Freese back in their lineup against the Orioles tomorrow night after missing almost 2 months with a broken hand. Cardinals have dropped 12 of 15 and they're 1-5 since Albert Pujols went down. Slow bouncer charged by Blake DeWitt, and the toss to Pena in time to end the inning. The Rockies get one, that's it. And the Cubs lead 6-2 midway in the sixth. What's former Governor Rod Blagojevich saying tonight? NBC 5's Carol Maureen and Marianne Ahern will have all the latest. Plus, how safe is one of Chicago's premier beaches? Don't miss the exclusive interview with one of the 911 callers. It's all tonight on the NBC 5 News at 10. Southpaw Rex Brothers will take over for Jhoulys Chacin. Cubs just put a 6 spot up in 5 innings. 3 home runs off Chacin, his worst start of the year.
Brothers a 2-pitch guy, fastball slider. He's been a reliever his entire professional career. Started back in 09. Has yet to start a game in his career. Well, usually those guys, especially lefties, coming in out of the bullpen, if you can command 2 pitches, that's enough.
Don't know his family situation, but got to be some other boys in the family. It'd be the brothers. Yeah. I suppose if he's got a couple female siblings, it would be the brothers' sisters.
Oh, very nice. Thought you were going to go down the Smothers Brothers road.
Right.
Mom,
yeah.
Mom always liked you best.
Feels like an Abbott and Costello routine. Whose brother's father? Yes.
Yes.
Whose brother's mother? I don't know.
That's what I'm asking you.
Big swing by Garza, and he fouled it back to the edge of the screen. If you want a foul ball and you're in the ballpark right now, you might want to be on the right side of the diamond.
Yeah. Pretty common for most pitchers at the major league level. They're going to be tardy on a good fastball, and the foul balls are going to go to the opposite field, in this case right over the first base dugout.
Swing and a miss for strike 3. Watch Comcast Sportsnet game replays on demand with Xfinity TV from Comcast. Don't miss the action. Call 1-800-XFINITY today. Kosuke shows bunt and takes a fastball for a strike. Another one in 97 that time. Blows it by him. Rex Brothers with back-to-back strikeouts here in the 6th.
Making fun of his name may have upset him. Our Galaxy home remodeling pitch tracks, all those fastballs in the mid-90s, 2 of them right at the knees in the middle of the plate, the last one up and away. Fukudome comes up empty.
It's the 10th career appearance for this 6-foot tall lefty as he faces Tony Campana. Days ago in a rough one against Detroit, gave up 3 runs, 2 earned, did not get an out. He had to leave after getting spiked on the right forearm. Had to take 4 stitches, but he pitched the next day. Looking forward to the Rex Brothers Scott Cousins matchup. And a somewhat related story.
Oh, this won't end, will it?
High strike, 3-1. Got to be on the same staff with Jonathan Neese. Ball 4. Campana is on.
Big disco fan, likes to listen to Sister Sledge.
Mamas and the Papas.
Mamas and the Papas. Uncle Tupelo. See if Tony Campana can get himself a jump against the left-hander here. Not sure what kind of move Rex Brothers has to first base, but I'm sure Tony Campana is going to find out quickly. Pretty quick on his delivery to home plate. And with that in mind, Bobby Dernier, the first base coach, always has that stopwatch in hand, not only looking for some kind of a tip off as to when the lefty's going to come to first and when he's going to go to home, but getting time on that delivery to the plate to see if it's worthwhile for Tony Campana to attempt a stolen base.
Thanks to Bobby for joining Luke Stuckmeyer on our pregame coverage today. Got that stopwatch in his hand. Two and one to Castro, has an 11-game hitting streak, extended it with a triple in the first inning. Campana took off, and Castro bounced it foul.
A lot of things to think about in a very short amount of time for the hitter. When you see a jump like Tony Campana had that time at first base, you'd like to be able to lay off that pitch, especially if it's out of the strike zone. That pitch appeared to be inside and would have been ball 3 and allowed Campana to steal the bag at second, but Castro fouled it off.
Well, it's been a battle for the Rockies after an 11-2 start. They had a great month of April. They were dismal in May, losing 21 of 29, but they bounced back to go 13-10 here in June. They trail 6-2 as they're trying to get back to 500. Here's a throw to second. It's high, and Campana is in.
Eighth of the season for Tony Campana. Got a real good jump, and even with the slide step, tough pitch for Iannetta to handle. That slider down and in, had to sweep the ball all the way back across his body to get his shoulder closed, and the throw high at second, allowing Campana to slide in underneath.
Meantime, a 3-2 count on the hitter. And here's the pitch. Into center field. Gonzalez lays out, makes the grab. The Gold Glover robs Castro of an RBI hit. Campana stranded at second. Cubs lead 6-2 after 6. Wrigley Field from the players who lived them firsthand. Now you have the chance. Take a tour led by former Cub greats like Billy Williams, Fergie Jenkins, Doug Glanville, or Ernie Banks. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com. Ty Wigginton leading off the 7th with the Cubs leading the Rockies 6-2. Miss World 2010 Alexandria Mills with some help from friends Ben and Kyle will conduct the 7th inning stretch. Wigginton went after that high pitch, an awkward cut as he strikes out. He's 0 for 3. All the guys we were talking about, Bob, who were red hot coming in, haven't had very good days. Wigginton and Chacin.
A lot of that has to do with Matt Garza's stuff today. An elevated fastball at 94, way up above the top of the strike zone. Well, half swing that time from Wigginton. Big first out.
Pitch to Blackmon is a curve low. Ball 1. Big swing got in on his hands. A ball and a strike. Garza now ready for a 1-1. Foul right at the plate, 1-2. Garza with 5 punch-outs today. And as importantly, if not more so, he hasn't walked anybody.
And with that doubleheader coming up tomorrow, you mentioned at the top of the show, Len, how important it was to get a deep outing from Matt Garza today, and so far he has obliged.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3.
Even though that fastball is his go-to pitch on a given day, Matt Garza has a couple of really good breaking balls at his disposal. That time a slider right underneath the bat of Charlie Blackmon for strike 3.
Chris Iannetta with pinch hitter Ryan Spilborghs on deck. Garza is still throwing hard. That pitch clocked at 96. One and one as he did go around. How about this? Matt has not gone 7 innings since his first start. Check that, since April 30th, but he's only gone at least 7 twice. Trying to do that again here today. Has not gotten through 7 innings since coming off the disabled list earlier this month.
Well, we did talk about that last outing against the White Sox where he had to come out after 5 because of the rain delay. He looked like he was equipped to go deep into that ball game. Picked right up where he left off.
A 1-2 count on the Rockies catcher. Got jammed. Castro will make the catch. Stretch time.
Today's guest conductor for Take Me Out to the Ball Game, Miss World Alexandria Mills.
All right, fans, let me hear ya. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back, 'cause it's Rupert for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. It's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the ball game.
Part of a double switch, maybe. Actually, Chris Ionetta is still in there as Clayton Mortensen will take over on the mound. Great to have with us Miss World 2010, Alexandria Mills. Nice to meet you, Alexandria.
You as well. It is absolutely amazing to be here. I am sitting at Wrigley Field, and I just sang the 7th inning stretch. I'm still in shock right now.
And you had a couple friends with you as well.
Yes, Ben and Kyle, the sweetest young men you'd ever meet. And they're so much fun. Poor Kyle was so nervous. But they really enjoyed it.
It is nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
there's no doubt.
A little bit.
Now, this was rescheduled, right? You were
Yes,
here earlier this year.
This is actually the second time that I've been here. But we've got the exact same spot, but it's a beautiful day. I woke up this morning, and I saw it was a little bit gloomy, so I said I had to do a bit of a rain dance to really hope that we'd have this beautiful weather, and we have.
Yeah, it worked out well. We've had a nice day. As Aramis Ramirez cranks this ball deep to center. Gone! That's 2 for him today.
Oh, my goodness.
Four home runs for the Cubs. 7-2.
Boy, this is the kind of thunderous offense that we've been waiting for pretty much all summer from the Cubs. Oh, man, right where he would ask for it. Down and in. That's his happy zone. Just drops the head of the bat on the ball and hits it way back to the batter's eye in center field.
Now an opportunity for Carlos Pena to hit 3. Mentioned he has one career 3-homer game. And he hits that one foul. And out of play. So you're from Louisville, Kentucky?
Louisville, Kentucky.
Sorry,
My
Louisville.
mom and I actually, Louisville. You guys say it right.
Right.
My mom and I actually drove here. We have a little fun road trip. She's standing up there behind you. She waved, but
that's not that long a drive, right?
No, just over 5 hours. We stopped, took a little walk around the mall. That was fun. Not nearly as exciting as a Cubs game.
Alexandria, I had a question for you. Now, pardon my ignorance of the
Oh, no,
whole
no.
beauty world. Is there a pecking order? Miss Universe, Miss World, Miss Galaxy, Miss whatever?
I don't know. I personally am going to even from the beginning, I thought that Miss World was, the most amazing thing. It's about as high as you can get, in my opinion. But, I mean, I am Miss World, so you kind of can't. But, no, Miss World is actually the oldest pageant in the world, and it's the biggest. This year we have 120 contestants from 120 different countries. And, I mean, it's something that just going there for the experience is amazing in itself. I was honored to represent the United States, my home country, and just, I told everyone, if there was such thing as 120th place, I'd be ecstatic.
And you won in China, correct?
In China, Sanya, China. So we did a month-long tour. We started in Beijing. We went to Ordos, Shanghai, and Sanya. So it was definitely a wonderful tour. Really got to learn the culture of China.
We were in Kansas City over the weekend, in case you're wondering.
Well, I've never
exciting.
been there, so.
There you go. We've got that on you.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss.
Ooh.
On a change-up for the out.
You have a lot more travel coming up, right?
Yes, I go home tomorrow, actually. I'm going to try to do a bit of sightseeing around Chicago. I haven't been here since I was a child to really actually enjoy Chicago. So I'm going to do a bit of sightseeing, go home, and I actually have to pack for a month in Africa.
Nice.
We're going to South Africa and Ethiopia, Kenya, Botswana, and wherever else life takes me.
And we're going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
So
I've never been
go.
there either,
Yeah.
so you got me on that one.
Okay, we'll compare notes.
Sounds perfect.
Here's the 1-0 pitch to Soriano. It's low. Well, Alexandria, we came up with a special jersey for you.
Oh,
Bob
my
embroidered it
goodness.
himself
Oh, thank you.
while we were in Kansas City.
I
And
love it.
there's your own Cubs jersey.
Oh,
There you go.
thank you so much.
You're
oh, my
welcome.
gosh. How many people can say they have a Miss World Cubs jersey?
One that I know of.
One. Can I put this on now? Is that
Of
okay?
course.
Of
Of course you
course.
can.
That's one thing I didn't have was a jersey, and I said I had to buy one before I leave. I never thought I'd get my own.
Tulowitzki will get Soriano for the out.
How's it look?
Looks great.
Looks great, right?
Yeah,
Good?
looks better than when Len had it on. Yeah.
Did you steal my jersey?
I did not.
Now
I did not.
Now I'm going to go home wear this all around. Louisville's not going to be too happy. No, I'm teasing. We have plenty of Cubs fans in Louisville, I promise.
That's a good shot, partner. Blake DeWitt takes strike one. Cubs leading 7-2. 2 homers from both Aramis Ramirez and Carlos Pena. Now 1-2. So how long are you in town?
I just got in last night.
Okay.
Had dinner at this fun little restaurant. It's something elephant something. It's really good food. Really good. But after that, I am heading home tomorrow. So I get to say goodbye to all my friends that I've only seen twice.
Well, congratulations on Miss World 2010.
Thank
and
you.
enjoy your travels.
Thank you
and
so
we'll
much.
let you know how Pittsburgh is.
Oh, definitely.
Thanks, Alexandria.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. And this is such a view. Honestly.
In for Blake DeWitt. That was fun.
Yep. Very bubbly personality.
Yes. Miss World, Alexandria Mills. Ryan Spilborgs just came into the game in the last half inning to play left. So not a pinch hitter, even though this is his first at bat, off the bench. Samardzija is a right-hander and Marshall the lefty. LeMahieu gets right into the action. One away. Paid crowd today 40,854. Makeup game for a rain out in late April on the 27th of that month.
Well, that's the way good defenders like it, Len. You come into a ball game as a defensive replacement or part of a double switch. Good defenders want that first ball hit right to them so they can get involved in the flow of the game.
Swing and a miss. Been a big day of celebrities here at the ballpark. Nick Jonas from the Jonas Brothers was not only here, but he stopped and said hello in the booth. He was looking for you. Did he ever catch up to you?
I miss Nick.
He took a little batting practice today. I didn't ask Alexandria if she took BP, but 0-2 is high.
Well, did Nick Jonas from the Jonas Brothers meet Rex Brothers?
That's a good question. I would like to think so.
Seems kind of odd that Miss World travels by car with her mom from Louisville to Chicago, or Louisville, I guess.
Louisville.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. Well, I know, we're busy, but you'd probably go with her on the Beauty with a Purpose tour, wouldn't you? Abroad?
Oh yeah, I'm all for beauty, especially if it has a purpose. But unfortunately, we're busy.
Yeah.
Going to Pittsburgh.
That ball hammered to deep right. A line shot home run. Well, here's the deal. You hit a home run today, you hit two. Ramirez, Pena, and Gonzalez have all hit two apiece. 7-3. 2 for 1 Monday, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. All the other home runs in the game have been majestic high fly balls. Not the case here from Cargo. This is an absolute laser beam line drive into the bleachers in right. Well, the only question was whether that was going to get up enough to get over the basket in right field, and cleared it with ease.
That will be it for Matt Garza, who works into the 8th. Double switch time as Sean Marshall will pitch. Reed Johnson will enter as well. In left for Alfonso Soriano. It's a Honda call to the pen. Nice hand for Matt Garza. On to call to the pen, and left-hander Sean Marshall is on 7-3. We'll turn around Jonathan Herrera, who takes a strike. Reed Johnson is in left. He'll hit ninth. Sean ready for an 0-2 pitch, and Herrera strikes out.
Backdoor breaking ball that time by Sean Marshall. Certainly his reputation precedes him. But Herrera just cannot hold up. Tried to check his swing. Quick tag by Giovanni Soto for the out.
Helton with 2 away. Strike 1. Fastball pretty much right down the middle. The inner third. And if you're Todd Helton, at least early in the count, you're probably expecting a lot of breaking stuff. Now he gets the curveball and is able to stay alive.
I'll tell you, Todd Helton hangs in just about as well as any left-handed hitter in the game against tough left-handed pitching, but he's struggled against Sean Marshall. Only 1 for 6 lifetime.
Helton had a 2-homer game here on April 26th. First multi-homer game since 2007. Ramirez will pick it up, and the throw to first gets Todd Helton, who might have beaten that out 10 years ago, but with back problems he has slowed down a bit. And the inning is over. Bottom of the 8th, 7-3 Northsiders. Cap at 7-3. The Cubs with the lead. Clayton Mortensen in his second inning of work. Three and 0. 76 degrees as we got started, but it's muggy today. Might be a little warmer than the temperature around 120. A little sticky here at the ballpark. Might get some rain a little later. Ball 4. A new season, a new look. Join Vineline, the official monthly magazine of the Cubs, in celebrating its 25th anniversary in 2011. Get the backstage pass to how the Cubs live and play on the field as well as off. Subscriptions start at just $29.95. For more info and to order, visit Cubs.com/Vineline. First at bat for Reed Johnson. Now playing left. Right down the middle, it looked like it was inside.
Yep.
Well, he is really crowding that plate. You can't stand any closer to home plate than Reed Johnson does.
And talking to baseball people, and they really think that Reed Johnson's stance and approach is a byproduct of going to Cal State Fullerton. It's apparently something that, as a program, they like to see their hitters get up on top of that plate, challenge pitchers to pitch him on the inside part. And Reed Johnson has just carried it right into his professional career and continues to put his toes right on that inside line of the batter's box. That left foot will close up as the ball is delivered.
Not a tall guy with a long reach, so it does also allow him to make pretty good contact on anything right on that outside edge or beyond if needed.
You can see the hole where most right-handed batters stand, a good 8 to 10 inches behind his right foot. There's exactly what you were talking about. That fastball off the outside corner, low and away, but he's still able to reach it because he's standing so close to the plate. That's a pitch that most right-handed hitters would have trouble reaching for, and Reed does have to make an adjustment right there at the end, but that wasn't off the end of the bat. That ball was fouled off near the barrel. And you can see Iannetta wanted to go inside, really try to jam Reed Johnson right there, but if he set up in a position where he normally would on a right-handed hitter, he'd have been directly behind Reed Johnson. His pitcher wouldn't have been able to see him.
Spilborghs for the out. Spilborghs got rid of the lamb chops. Still got the stash working. He's got a little bit of a different look with the facial hair every time we see him.
Now, he may have a different look by the time he gets back to Colorado tonight.
The look Spielborgs has right now is kind of the look Bobby Valentine was going for when he snuck back into the Mets dugout.
Good call. I was trying to figure out who he looked like. That's exactly it.
Those are some stylish sunglasses too. I borrowed them from Andrew Dice Clay. Oh. 2 balls, no strikes on Fukudome. Out 2-1. Three and one. Tony Campana on deck. Tulowitzki, Smith, and Wigginton due up in the top of the 9th. The closer Marmol is ready. The Cubs right now with a 4-run lead. So it's not a safe spot. 3-2. Soto not running on the 3-2 pitch. Backhanded play, Herrera. Double play. That'll get us to the 9th. And it will be Carlos Marmol in a non-safe spot. Of a 4-game series against the reigning champion Giants here in the friendly confines. Don't miss a minute of the action. Coverage starts at 6:30 with Sportsnet Central, only on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. Carlos Marmol trying to preserve and close out a 7-3 contest.
Marmol picked up the save in the only victory the Cubs were able to have over the Kansas City Royals over the weekend. Pitched a clean inning in that ball game. Did give up 1 hit, struck out a couple, walked a man.
Starts Troy Tulowitzki with a fastball for a strike. Starters are the pitchers of record, Garza and Chacin. A high slider, 1-1. Marmol ready, and the 2-1 pitch. Popped down the right field line. Tulowitzki got a late start, and that ball's going to drop fair. Probably should have been at second base, but he didn't run right after contact.
Well, we've talked all day about that wind blowing straight out here at Wrigley Field, and that's exactly the kind of pop ball that looked like it was going to go foul down that right field line, but the wind pushed it back into play. Tulowitzki with the big swing looked like he saw the ball off the bat. He just assumed it was going to go into foul territory, and by the time he gets underway and makes his way up that first baseline, he has to hold it first with a single.
He might not have been at second base, would not want to take a chance down 4 runs. One and nothing on Seth Smith. Pena plays behind the runner at first, 2-0, and Soto has to come out. Well, what a job by Matt Garza. He did exactly what Mike Quade needed him to do. He got into the 8th inning, saved the majority of the bullpen. Marshall only had to get 2 outs. He should be good to go tomorrow. You've got the closer here in the 9th. Hopefully can get it together and won't be overly taxed with 2 games on the docket on Tuesday. Three and one. Ball 4. He can't get the save today, but he's creating an unofficial save for himself. 2 on, nobody out, and it's Ty Wigginton. He can go right at him with a 4-run lead. But the guy on deck's not going to help him in terms of throwing strikes. Jason Giambi has jumped into the on-deck circle. Oh, and 2. You wouldn't know it by that look that it's not a safe spot. They get locked back in. The 0-2 outside. 1 and 2.
If you're a true competitor, it really doesn't make any difference if it's a save situation or not. You still have your professional pride. You want to go out there and do what you do to the best of your ability, regardless of the game situation. There you go.
Wigginton strikes out.
Man, that's a nasty pitch. Just slid right across the bottom of the strike zone until ultimately ended up far enough away that Wigginton could not make contact, could not hold up.
Brings up Giambi. 3 of his 8 home runs came in one game earlier this year. Fouled back. It was the first 3-homer game of his career. Came at Philadelphia. He knocked in 7, which tied his career high. .423 home runs. That puts him 44th on the all-time list. 3 behind Billy Williams, who's in 42nd with 426. Marmol's 0-2. Swing and a miss. He makes quick work of Giambi, who was very aggressive in that at bat.
Oh, man. That's just a thing of beauty. There was a time the right-handed pitchers hesitated to throw their slider to a left-handed hitter, but not Carlos Marmol. He will throw that slider to anybody.
Foul strike on the catcher, Iannetta. A good ball game for the Cubs today. Multi-homer games from their 4 and 5 hitters, Ramirez and Pena. The starter went into the 8th. And an 0-1 count on Iannetta outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Called strike 2. Up in the air to center, Tony Campana. Cubs win. Marmol gave up the bloop hit, a walk, but then got the next 3, 2 on strikeouts. And the Cubs take this makeup game and finish the season series against the Rockies. Good ball game today.
Yeah, real nice ball game. Matt Garza pitched an outstanding game, did exactly what Mike Quade needed him to do, and man, is it good to see the offense blow up the way they did today.
All right, thank you. I've got 4 home runs I'm standing between here. We'll start with Aramis. Aramis, first of all, just about getting some offense going for this team. It had to feel good, and do you feel good?
Especially when Garza's on the mound. You know, it's going to give you a good outing. We haven't hit the way we like to when he's on the mound, and today we come out and support him.
Carlos, you had no home runs on May 3rd. All of a sudden, you have 16. You've said before you don't feel that great, but it sure looks like it's coming around for you.
Well, thanks. I'm glad you say so. I'm still working on it. You know, it's a work in progress, like I always say. I'm just going to keep it coming, you know, doing everything I can to help the ball club win.
Thank you. And Aramis, you know, you look at that start today, you got a doubleheader tomorrow. You need innings out of your pitcher today. Talk about the job that Garza did for you.
He was outstanding, and he wanted to stay out there. You know, he threw 7 1/3. He gave us what we need because we're going to have a tough day tomorrow.
Feel good to be home?
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know, hopefully we're going to pull up some wins here in this homestand.
Nice pitching performance and 4 home runs today from these 2 guys. Nice start to the homestand, Len.
You got it, Luke.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
And we appreciate your efforts as well. So the Giants come in tomorrow, and they currently lead the West by a game and a half, with the Diamondbacks hosting Cleveland tonight. It's going to wrap up our game coverage, but much more to come. Coors Light post-game live coming up. Once again, the final score today, the Cubs 7 and the Rockies 3. We're back here tomorrow, game 2 of a day-night doubleheader against the Giants. Rodrigo Lopez for the Cubs. Barry Zito comes off the DL for the Giants. In-game scoring provided by Scorepad, and now for Bob, for Luke Stuckmeyer, Bob Albrecht, Dave Turner, Tamara Anderson, our entire CSN crew here at the ballpark. Glenn Casper now sending it over to Cap and Todd in our downtown Chicago CSN studios.